Big one. Strength training alone will not help you lose weight. If you're over 40 and looking to get back into strength training, or maybe even start strength training from the start, I want to share with you 10 lessons I've learned over the last 12 years of literally helping only people over 40 get strong, get fit, get lean. And hopefully by sharing these lessons, you can bypass a lot of mistakes that our clients make and that you can get the quickest, fastest results possible. So let's just dive in. Number one, you have to leave your ego at the door. So I know what it's like. Back in the day, you were a rugby player or a netball player, and you were, had athletic prowess and you knew what you were doing, but things have changed. You may be a mum, maybe a dad, you may have some injuries, and you can't do what you did before. And you shouldn't even try to do that. I was training a client just this last week who used to be a professional rugby player. I checked with him the next day and I said, "Hey buddy, how you doing?" He went, "I'm okay. My ego is a little bit hurt." But for him, being such a athletic person and having such a great sports background, it was really difficult for him because he hasn't trained for maybe 10 to 15 years. And he was always about, go hard, hit the rugby ball, hit the team. And he couldn't do that now. So you have to leave your ego at the door and start from a point that is where you're at right now. And yes, all those accolades and things are amazing. You should absolutely remember them, but you got to understand you're in a much older body than you used to be, and you've got to start right back at the beginning again. And this is what I see all the time. And a lot of our clients that come in with that sort of background actually get a little bit disappointed when they start. But the good news is you can actually keep on going. And as you go through it, you will get stronger and you will get fitter and you will get more athletic as you go. You just got to leave your ego at the door and start off a little bit slower. If you're somebody though that is new to strength training, then what you got to remember is that this is the starting point. This is just the benchmark, and we can replace some of that lost muscle that you've lost over the last maybe 15, 20 years, and we can regain it very, very quickly. And within a very short space of time, you're literally going to have massive improvements in terms of your toning and your strength and your fitness. It happens really, really fast. Lesson number 2 is that you've got to choose simple exercises. And a lot of times I see other fitness people on the internet doing all these crazy variations of exercises and press-ups and machines. But the reality of it is you just need about 5 to 7 quality exercises. And the way I design my programs is that we start off with big muscles first. We start off with legs, then we might go to chest and back and shoulders and core. We work on balance, okay? And we work on all these core fundamental movements. And these movements are called compound movements. And simply means that you use multiple muscle groups at the same time to do a certain movement. So if you think of a press up, which is really, really simple example, when you're pushing forward, you're using your triceps, the fronts of your shoulders and your chest and a little bit of core to keep your body at a good angle. So you will get much more done from just doing chest flies or core work. You get the whole thing done together. If you would like though a full copy of a strength program that I've created for you, it's totally free. Just leave strength in the comments and I will send that over in a PDF. It's got a lot of videos in there. It's got instructions on there. Tells you how many reps to do and how many sets to do, all those things. Explains it perfectly. Just leave strength down below and I will send that over to you. Number 3, more isn't better. You've got to understand what you're doing when you're trying to get stronger. And when you're getting stronger, you just need to load up the muscles that you have. Think of them just like the building of the foundations of a house. You don't need lots and lots of foundations. You just need strong foundations. And when you work on that key thing, building the foundation, you will then be able to get much better results over the course of time. And a lot of people, when they first start their strength journey, they will come into the gym, they'll try and hit it 5-6 times a week. They kind of get a bit burnt out, a bit sore, a bit deflated. And what you find is that more isn't better. And what we find here is that if you literally just do 30 minutes, 3 times a week, consistently for months on end and maybe forever, you will get far better results than trying these sort of sharp spikes in intensity followed by big lulls of not an awful lot. So more is not always better. Less is more. And in this case, you can do this in about 40 minutes, 3 times per week. And you're going to get much better results over time, and you'll mentally be able to deal with that as well. Lesson number 4. The amount of times I hear people say, I've got an injury, but it'll be all right. It won't be all right. If you've got an injury, don't push through that exercise. There are so many different variations of exercise that you can do. So if you've got a shoulder problem and you're trying to push through a shoulder press, Like, that's not going to make it any better. What's more likely going to happen is you're going to do more damage. Then you're not going to be able to go to the gym because you've got the injury and you're not sure how to work around it. There are tons better exercises to do that. So if you have got an injury, it's way better off going to see a physiotherapist or going to see a personal trainer, or maybe like leave a comment down below if you've got an injury and you need a workaround. I've got lots of exercises to show you. Like, we can give you advice on what to do next. So don't push through these injuries because you end up doing more damage. I'll tell you a super easy story. I've had 8 knee surgeries, okay, over the last sort of 20 years, I think, off the top of my head. And for 6 years, I had a knee surgery every single year. And the one thing I didn't do was rest. I was training in Aikido, doing martial arts. And every time I felt a bit better, I went back to martial arts. And more or less, I did more damage. You may think I'm a bit stupid, but like, I kept doing it. Thought it was okay, felt good, trained, hurt myself. And when I stopped training and really, like, I understood the process of not pushing through that injury, it kind of got better. And over the last, year or two, I've been able to start doing triathlons and half marathons and things I thought I would never be able to do. So I've learned this time and time again. Even with clients we have here, they try to push through injuries, and pretty much always hurts you in the end. Okay, so go and get some advice. Don't push with injuries. We're not Rambo here. Okay, we can do it smartly. Number 5, creatine is actually your friend. Now, creatine is a really good supplement. It's been studied for many, many years, and there are new benefits coming out about creatine in terms of cognitive health, making your brain a little bit better. And one of the studies done was around people who were sleep deprived and they were able to think better. So if you're a shift worker, it may be helpful. And things with creatine, what it does is it forces sort of energy into the muscles, and the muscles are able to work at a little bit of a higher capacity. So if you want to get stronger, creatine is fantastic. And the reason why is, in very simple terms, if you were to say, let's just do a bench press or a press up, right? And you got to 10 and you couldn't do any more, creatine will give you the energy to do 2, maybe 3 more repetitions of that. So let's just say each repetition is 50 kilograms, okay? That's what a press up is. You would be then able to lift 150 kilograms more. And if you did that 3 times per week, that's a lot of kilograms. If you did that for the course of a year, you're able to increase your volume that you put on the muscles so they can grow stronger and they can be more durable, okay? So creatine is your friend. Don't worry about it. It's not steroids. It's not gonna make you sick or give you bad liver or kidneys or anything. It's a very, very good supplement. So research creatine, and if you think it's a good fit for you, then try that, but it will absolutely be your friend as you get older. Number 6, so many people are so inactive. I will give you a really good story that I've got, okay? So this lady came in to see us and she couldn't lose weight. Very, very unfit, lost her puff every time she walked up a set of stairs. And, she said, I only do about 3,000 steps per day, which is highly sedentary, but it's also very common for people over 40 to do very limited steps because of their job and their lifestyle and all those things, right? But then she said to me, my husband though, he can't lose weight and he's really fit. I said, well, what does he do for a job? And she goes, he works in a store and he does about 20,000 steps per day and he couldn't gain weight. So these were two very sort of polarizing ends of the spectrum. And the key matter is he was burning so many calories off that he couldn't eat enough calories to put weight on. And she was doing so little activity that she didn't have to eat an awful lot and she would gain weight very, very easily. The other thing about cardio is that when you do cardio, 150 minutes per week is about 20 minutes per day of steady state cardio. You will have all these massive, amazing health benefits of the heart and the lungs. And in fact, what the stats are showing right now is that you may live 3 to 7 years longer, I think around those numbers. But even if you can't guarantee to extend your life, it will make the quality of your life better. It'll also allow you to have the confidence to go and play with your grandkids, do that big sort of walk or holiday that you've always wanted to do in retirement, but you're not fit enough to do it. Cardio is going to be the key thing. It gives you more energy, gives you more ability to lift heavier weights and do more in the gym because you've got a better cardio capacity. So don't skip it. People say you don't need to do it. Like I would say, do it. I was never used to really program cardio for my clients, but over the last 4 or 5 years, I've personally seen the benefits for me, and doing extra cardio has allowed me to have more energy. When I was working shift work, I'm now able to run triathlons and half marathons, and there is no better feeling than the feeling of fit, and it's all down to doing cardio. Number 7, a big one. Strength training alone will not help you lose weight. What strength training does, it builds your muscles, strengthens your joints and your ligaments. It may help regulate diabetes and stuff if you got it. but alone, it will not help you burn millions and millions of calories. In fact, if you do a strength training session for about 30 to 40 minutes, you may only burn off 300 calories. And you can drink that back with one latte and one glass of wine, and you're back to square zero again. The only way you lose weight is through being in a calorie deficit, and a weight and strength training helps with that for a couple of reasons. Number one, when you start weight training, what happens is you are building lean muscle tissue. Muscle tissue is an active tissue, means it requires calories to exist, therefore it burns calories at rest. However, it isn't as many calories as you think. You still need to control your diet because you can't build that much muscle to offset a really poor diet. So if weight loss is a goal, understand the calorie deficit. And if you do that, you need to, eat less calories. You need to move more, burn some output, and how obviously, build some muscle as well. And all those things together will make a massive difference in your weight loss. If you're somebody that needs to lose weight though, I've got a blueprint that you can follow, the calorie deficit blueprint. It sets out 10 steps that you can follow to become in a calorie deficit so that you can lose body fat, and you can comment blueprint down below. And if you get the strength and the blueprint, you're going to be well on your way to achieving your health and fitness goals this year, okay? Number 8, you need more protein to build muscle. And there's lots of numbers out there of how much protein to use and all that other stuff. One tip that I like, that I heard somewhere on the internet, which seems to be the right amount, even with all the different formulas out there, is whatever your height is in centimeters, that is how many grams of protein you need. I'm about 174 centimeters. 174 grams of protein is actually perfect for my needs and what I do and what I train. It'll probably be the same for you as well. You don't overthink it though. Just because it says 174 grams of protein doesn't need to be spot on. It could be 150, it could be 200. There's a range in there. So don't worry about getting exact numbers, but more protein is going to be better for you to build muscle. Number 9, any strength training program will work. You can do leg day, arm day, shoulder day, it will work. You can do full body workouts, it will work. You can do CrossFit, it will work. You can do just walk in the gym, it'll work. But you've got to have some kind of structure to it as well. And the biggest thing about it is progressive overload. You've got to do a little bit more than you did last week. You've got to bring the intensity. It's got to be challenging. You've got to push yourself a little bit. But basically everything works, and things work in degrees as well. I've got my system, which is full body workouts, because I believe that's the best way to go because it saves you time. You can hit every muscle of the body 3 times per week, which the science seems to say is the most effective thing. And if you do it that way, you're going to get good results. And like I say, we've tested that time and time again, and it works really well. Again, if you want to copy of that strength program, just comment strength. I'll send it over to you to follow. But reality of it is everything works. And if you just start applying some weight to your muscles, you will start to get stronger. That is fantastic for you. And it's great for me as well, because I know if I can get that message across, you are more likely to be stronger, fitter, and healthier as you hit your 40s, 50s, 60s, and however long you're going to live. And number 10, you will notice strength at the most odd times. I'm going to tell you a quick story about my client, Carol. So she's come into our gym. She's well up into her 70s right now, and she's been strength training with us. And there's a bit of a love-hate relationship. She didn't, love it at the beginning, but she started to get stronger. She stuck with it. She did her bare minimum 3 times a week, half an hour, and she was doing really well. Then last week, something amazing happened. She went to the car to pick up some groceries, and her husband came along. "Oh, I'll help you with that, Carol." And she said, "Don't worry, I can do this." And she lifted a whole bag of shopping out, and she carried her up the stairs to her house. And she said, "I couldn't believe it. I just felt so strong that I didn't need the help that I used to need before." And that is when you notice that you're getting stronger. And that is perfect. That's exactly what you want, because when you're strength training in the gym, you're building a reserve for life. You're building up that capacity to be able to do things outside of the gym, live longer, live a more active, healthy lifestyle, be stronger, be more independent, and have more confidence in your physical ability, which is awesome. Now, that is my 10 lessons I learned over the last 12 years of strength training with people over the age of 40. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. So leave me a comment down below. Tell me if you found any of these useful for you. And if you've stuck to the end, what I do at the end of these sort of coaching videos, if you like, is I have a key secret word. And that is for the people that stick around to the end and those who are invested in their health and fitness. And I really want that to be the same for you. The secret word is raining, because it is miserable outside and it is raining. So if you stuck to the end, comment raining down below, and I know you've made it to the end and you're the sort of person that's going to be very successful with your health and fitness. I'm going to leave a video up in the top left corner, something I think you will like. So head over there and I'll see you on the next video.